Every economy must answer 5 basic questions when organizing the factors of production. These 5 questions highlight the economic choices underlying the production possibilities model mentioned in Chapter 1, Part 3. All economies, whether a market system or otherwise, must address these questions, and it's how they answer these questions that helps economists categorize them along the spectrum of economic systems. The first is, what will be produced? To understand how a market system answers this question, remember that profit is the difference in total revenues and total costs. In order to be profitable, businesses must respond to consumers' wants and desires. Output increases in profitable industries as existing firms grow and new firms enter the industry. Firms that are not profitable reduce output or exit the market. Consumer sovereignty is the key to determining the types and quantities of the various products that will be produced. These dollar votes are used to determine which industries continue to exist and which individual products survive or fail. Remember Microsoft Zune or the McCullough burger? Probably not, because the consumers' dollar votes went to the Apple iPod and the McFish instead. The second question of how will the goods be produced is also profit-driven, but more so from the cost perspective. When firms face competition, the market forces the producers to use the most efficient production techniques. Otherwise, the firm will be driven out of business with their high costs. The combination of technology and the prices of the required resources determines the most efficient production technique. The producer will rationally choose the least costly method because it is this method that leads to the greatest profit. In this example, there are 3 different techniques that a firm might use for producing a bar of soap. The market price of that soap is $15, and if they charged more than that, nobody would buy their soap, and the firm would go out of business. It's obvious in this simplified example that Technique 2 would be their best option. We know this because total revenue, which is $15, minus total cost, which is $13, equals economic profit of $2. The third question of who will get the output is based on the willingness to pay principle. If the consumer is willing and able to pay, the consumer gets the product. However, the American system has some modifications to the pure willingness to pay principle, particularly those who are willing to purchase the product but for some reason are not able to make the purchase. For example, baby formula. If an individual wants formula for their infant but does not have the means to purchase it, the U.S. government provides programs such as WIC so that they might still obtain the good. It is with the question of how will the system change that command economies struggle the most. A market system is a dynamic environment and is able to quickly adapt to changes in consumer tastes and preferences. The business firm will find it in their best interest to make the changes reflected in the consumer choices to continue to survive as the market system acts like a giant communication system. The consumers communicate their preferences through their dollar votes. The business then responds to this by producing more or less or none of the product. This will soon be reflected in the demand for the resources employed in the production of the product. When technology and resource prices change, this impacts the costs that the producer faces when producing the good, changing the amount of the good that will be produced and the price of the good. The market system promotes technological improvements and capital accumulation. An entrepreneur or firm that introduces a popular new product will be rewarded with the increased revenue and profits. Thus, the final question of how will the system progress is answered through invention and innovation in a market system. New technologies that reduce production costs and thus product price will spread rapidly through the industry as a result of competition. Creative destruction occurs when new products and production methods destroy the market positions of firms that are not able or willing to adjust. For example, DVDs destroying VCR production, but creating a whole new series of jobs that previously didn't exist. The market system leads to even greater capital accumulation as it provides the resources necessary to produce more capital goods through the increased dollar votes for capital goods. The entrepreneurs and business owners are able to purchase more capital goods as they become more and more profitable.